How's it going, people? Welcome to AFTV and welcome to Arsenal News. Today with me, Cecil G, and I've got James B joining me from home. How are you, James?
Yeah, I'm all right. I've been feeling a bit ill the last couple of days, but it's just a cold, so I'm all right.
Don't listen to him, people. James went heavy at the awards night, and that is why he's been.
No, because I saw you included in the vlog that nice swig of champagne, but or whatever it was. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know. I blame that. I blame standing outside in the cold at Watford for hours as well. That could be part of it. But no, I'm all right. Just working from home.
Yeah, I'm playing with you. I'm very good. Guys, I'm messing with you. James was actually surprisingly, not surprisingly, he did drink too much at the awards night. But let's just have a quick before we get.
Behavior.
You were on your best behaviour, you're right. I mean, there was a lot of big influential people in the room, and I'm glad we didn't see, me goes reckless James. We had professional James in the building. Just to quickly touch on those awards tonight. Just again, big up everyone that supports the channel on AFTV. And it was a very humbling night for many of us at the SJAs. If you don't know what we're speaking about, there is a vlog on the channel. The Sports Journalism Awards, we were nominated for the best best YouTube sports show, amongst some big names. Sky Sports with Overlap, there was Talk Sport in there, Vibe with Five, obviously Rio Ferdinand's channel, What I Wore, which is also a channel, actually a show, but also goes on YouTube. But we were in there with some big hitters. So again, and that's all thanks to you guys that support the channel. And it was a really nice night, and you can see that in the vlog. And James, I'm sure you can tell them that you enjoyed it as well. It was good to be amongst those sort of people, wasn't it?
It was good fun. It was a massive honour as well. I think I mentioned it a few times that I kind of last sort of 5, 6, 7 years, I had in my mind that I wanted to be a sports journalist. So, I kind of knew all about these awards. Well, not all about, but obviously I knew they were a big deal. So to be in a room with some of the most, as you said, influential people in sports media, it's a real honour. So yeah, I think we enjoyed it, and next year we'll win it.
Next year we'll win it. Fingers crossed. Again, we love the recognition, but yeah, hopefully we'll be picking up a nice SJA trophy, and you'll be seeing that in one of our sets. Hopefully next year. That'll be a great achievement to have. Before we move into the news, as you can see, there is a lot of news around transfers and who Arsenal should be signing in the summer, and it's going to be the talk, I think, in the next couple of weeks, if I'm completely honest, because it's been all over the press of what Arsenal should be doing to strengthen this side. I do want to quickly discuss with you, James, just share your thoughts this weekend. We take on Leicester. How are you feeling? I know it's mid of the week, or there's going to be a lot of preview shows and build up, but we don't really get too much to hit. We don't get to hear too much from you on the preview side. So, how are you feeling ahead of that game this Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be feeling confident as an Arsenal fan right now, because the team have been scoring goals. I always talk about kind of where I fear we might, fall short when it comes to the top 4 race. And I always go to goal scoring. I always talk about, do we have the firepower that our rivals have? But in reality, when you look at that run of the last 10 games, of which we've won 8 and drawn 1 and lost another, in that run we've been scoring goals, whether it's 5 against Norwich, 4 against Leeds, 3 against Southampton, 2 against Wolves, actually 3 against Wolves in 2 games, 2 against West Ham. Arsenal have been finding the back of the net, and goals have been coming from everywhere, and that's only a good thing.
Do you expect a high scoring game on Sunday then? Because
yeah, quite well. I mean, it depends what we call high. I mean, I think any 3 or more goals for me is high scoring. Yeah. I'm expecting 3 to 4, 3, 4, 5 goals. I was about to give a score prediction.
I know you were.
But Arsenal. Jamie Vardy's not available. That will be some encouragement to Arsenal fans. We know what he's done to us over the years. But Leicester are still never an easy team to play, and Brendan Rodgers is the kind of manager who can pull out a really good away result when you kind of least expect it. So, obviously always on edge about these kind of games, especially because there's really something to go for now. I know it's not a trophy, but, top 4 is a big deal. So, high expectations, but I'm always wary.
But yeah, okay, James. Well, yeah, fair enough. I was going to give us my score prediction is 2-1 to Arsenal, and I think you're right there with what we're seeing so far from Arsenal. We've got to be kind of confident coming to the Emirates. Been in great form recently at the Emirates, so very confident for the game. But let's get into today's news. And now I'm going to let you lead through some of the potential signings with Arsenal. I've been reading a lot of news on what we're linked with. I do want to kind of give out some names like the likes of Adeyemi. I'd love to see come through, young player at RB Salzburg. Victor Osimhen, I would love to see as well from Napoli. But whether these names will pop up in what you've been researching, I don't know. But let's get into it. Where do you want to begin? Do you want to begin at the two strikers, the two forwards that that Arsenal need, or is it going to be one? Is it going to be two? Do we need two? Who are the two names that we're being linked with? Where do you want to start with this one?
I think you've got to start with the fact that we're linked with two forwards, supposedly. So the report came from Chris Wheatley at Football London. Arsenal targeting two forwards, a midfielder, and a backup right back. We'll go. I think there's plenty of discussion to have around all four of those players. Who they might be and what they might look like in terms of profile and role they might play in this team. I'm very much expecting when I read Arsenal looking for two forwards, I think that term is very carefully chosen. He's not said strikers, two number 9s, whatever. He said two forwards. And for me, those are players like, I'm not saying this guy, but I'm just using him as an example. Raheem Sterling is a forward. Yeah. He plays in the front three. He can play down the middle, left, right. I think Arsenal will be looking for wide players that can play down the middle, or creative outlets that can play in the front three, let's say. Smith Rowe, I think we think of him as a midfielder, but in a lot of ways the role he plays for Arsenal is as a forward. So I do wonder whether rather than sort of picking up two out and out number 9s, whether it might be a number 9 and then a more creative winger or a more direct winger, someone who can compete with Saka and Martinelli, and add some much needed depth in that position. I say much needed depth. I mean, Pepe's been doing well recently. We know Smith Rowe can play out there. So Serge Gnabry, I mean, I know that name's been floating around a lot. That's exactly the kind of player I think we should be looking at. João Felix kind of player as well. Now, I think they're the kind of names that depend on Champions League football. I think these players need to see not just that the project could go bang, but that it is going bang, and if we get top 4 with the youngest team in the Premier League, I think people would say, fair play. It looks like it's definitely going in the right direction, and I think these big players might want to have a go.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna actually ask you about Raheem Sterling at some point, or maybe some other Man City options like Gabriel Jesus, whose contract's up in 2023.
Great example.
So I would like. It'd be interesting to get your thoughts on that. Whether Arsenal would lead a player like that, and would Sterling, would it stop the progression of Saka? Would it be good, healthy competition? Would Arteta want a Sterling in this Arsenal side? Would it be too similar to Saka? We'll kind of delve into that and the forward options in a second. I'm just going to take the super chats. I've got a super chat here for you. Sorry, from Chaitanya says 4 signings minimum if we want to compete in the Champions League and title. 2 centre forwards, Duan Nunes and Jonathan David. By the way, Jonathan David for me is still number 1. I can't get past him. I really do like him. I want a Lacazette sort of player in the side, but with pace. And Jonathan David kind of encompasses that. So for me, Jonathan David is still up there. I did mention Adeyemi and Osimhen, and even still, those two are names that aren't popping up so frequent. And I know other clubs are linked with them, but those are players I'd like. But Jonathan David is definitely up there, and we've been linked to him, so I'd like to see him. But back to the super chat, he says Jonathan David or Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He said for right back, Spence, and for midfield, Tielemans. 150 to 200 million pounds budget realistic. And big up FTBL as well. I see you guys in the chat. But yeah, that was a super chat. I mean, there's a lot of positions that needs to be filled. 4 signings, James. Do you see 4 signings potentially coming in through Arsenal's door in summer? Is it a lot to ask for? Should we be expecting it, considering we didn't spend in January? Is it only right that us as fans can demand, a high amount of signings this summer, especially because, we're challenging for top 4, and if we get that, we're going to really need to strengthen.
I think there was another report. There was another report that Arsenal were also looking to potentially bring up to 6 players in, and I think the other 2 players were going to be a backup left. Yeah, I think the other report was something to do like I need to double check on it. Let us know in the comment section. But I think it was going to be something like a backup left centre back, and then a winger. Yeah, I think they were talking about a winger. I don't think we'll do all that. I don't. I think Arteta's already said in press conferences that this summer it's about adding quality. Look at the way we approached January. Yeah. Look at the way we approached January. He wanted Vlahovic, didn't get him. Didn't bring up an inadequate backup. Even Alexander Isak, very good player, wasn't willing to spend the money, or the release clause anyway. So they're trying to make sure they get the business absolutely spot on. Not just financially, but in terms of the right player who fits the right system, who's got the right attitude, who's got the right hunger, desire, all those things, who wants to play for Arsenal. I think Arteta, one of the first things he ever said as Arsenal manager was he wasn't going to bring in anyone that he felt he had to convince to come to the club. Yeah. So I don't think we're going to see another. Was it 6 signings we made last summer? I think it was,
yep,
wasn't it?
It was 6. Yep.
I don't think we're going to see another 6. I think we're going to see. Actually, we're going to see 3, and I think they'll still accumulate about a 100 to 120 million pound sort of fee or summer spend altogether. And honestly, I think we'll get a central midfielder, a winger, and a striker, and there will be players that will be the right men for Arteta. Now, who have backups and have other options, because if we don't get Champions League football, we're playing Europa League football. We can't go in with the same squad. We need to add more depth and quality to the squad. So there'll be your second option, your third option, all that. But I really think we're going to look at more 3 to 4 signings rather than 5, 6, 7.
James, do you think the signings this summer are going to be players that we have been hearing about, that we've been linked to, players that, I'm talking to likes like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, the Ollie Watkins, the Ivan Toney's, or do you think that, again, Arsenal are going to kind of go with this, listen, we're doing our due diligence when it comes to bringing in players. You're not going to hear of these players that we're bringing in. They're going to be maybe players that you didn't expect, but I know will fit my mould. Do you have any thought on that? Do you think potentially they might be players that we haven't really heard of, or do you think they'll be the big names?
I got to a point with summer transfer rumours where I thought, I'm not going to believe any of them. And it happens, and that's great. But actually, if you look at the last window, everyone was reporting that Arsenal wanted Aaron Ramsdale. Everyone was reporting it. And I thought, what a load of rubbish. There's no way. Why? Why does he... How is he improving on Bernd Leno? What does he offer that we need? And I was so wrong. And everyone and the media were telling us Arsenal legitimately want Aaron Ramsdale. Benjamin White. I need to get used to that. When we signed White from Brighton, that was a good month that we were linked with him. And I thought, again, no, he'll go to United or City or Chelsea. He's a quality player. Why would he come to Arsenal? But we stumped up the money and we got him. So I think actually we need to start taking some of these links a bit more seriously. I think we are getting a little bit more of a genuine insight to what Arsenal are trying to do in the window. You mentioned Calvert-Lewin. I could so see us getting a Calvert-Lewin. You see the role Lacazette does, what a physical presence a striker needs to be. I could see us getting Calvert-Lewin. I can't speak for Calvert-Lewin's link-up play and his close control and all that. I can speak for his ability to get in the box and be a presence. And I think there's something missing in the team. But you've got to look at also Mika Biereth and Flo Balogun. These are options that, are supposedly very highly rated. And you can always play Martinelli up front. And is he going to give Lacazette a new deal for a year? Who's he going to buy on the wing? So I'll stress it again. I think we're going to be looking at a striker, a winger, a central midfielder, and again, could we go back in for Arthur? Maybe. I mean, in terms of the profile of player, he's exactly the kind that we'd be looking at, or should be looking at, in my opinion. A few links to Fabian Ruiz. I saw him playing at the Under-21 Championships a couple of years ago. He's a really good player. And then a right back, this link to a backup right back. Who did we meet the other day at the Sports Journalism Awards? Who was
Ashley Williams.
Well, actually, I wasn't.
Is that the right person?
That was very cool.
Oh, sorry. We're talking about the agent.
Who represents Norton Cuffy.
Yeah,
and they really highly rate him in the academy.
Yeah,
they do. That this guy's going to the very top.
Yeah.
So again, then do we need to go and strengthen that area? Arteta's shown that he is willing to, promote youth and develop these young talents we've got. So. Yeah, I'll stress again. I think it'll be 3 signings, and I think they'll all cost quite a bit.
Yeah, agreed. Now that right back, that conversation we had with his agent at Rock Nation Sports. I mean, he was so confident that he will be the next big thing at right back and will be Arsenal's number one. So interesting. I forgot about that actually. That is someone who we may not need to go in for another right back, but maybe recall some of the youngsters, even the likes of Marcelo Flores. He has been superb since he's come to Arsenal. I watched him against Liverpool. He got the goal. We did lose, but great talent. I know he's a midfielder, but definitely one for the future. He's a shining star in the under 23s. I'm going to take some super chats quickly, James, before I ask you some more questions on this kind of topic here. So Shref says, Arteta going to do a madness hell, sign Haaland at striker. Now just quickly, there's been links, but I've seen public. I don't know if it's all fake news. I may understand. It may not be, but I see Haaland. I've seen who else did I see? Was Lewandowski. I know it's all rubbish. I was like, these publications have no shame. Just get the biggest strikers. just want to link with Arsenal. But yeah, so I saw that. But no, I don't think we'll be getting Haaland in the summer. I mean, if only. Verratti, Thiago for midfield experience. He says as well. Sell Laka and phone dead Nketiah. Let's go back to the glory days. Official DPS says, congrats on the nomination, guys. Thank you very much, official DPS. I'd like to see a striker, winger, 2 midfielders and a right back. Aarons, Tielemans, Kessie, big up Kessie as well. I think it'd be a good option for Arsenal. Rafinha and Cecil G. Love to dust off my boots and get back on the pitch for Arsenal. That would be a treat. I should have got that agent. I should have told the agent to sign me, for goodness sake. Exactly. Nick Goulart, a regular as well, big up Nick, says Gary Roy were appalled by the idea of United going the Arsenal route and signing youth with a young coach to rebuild for a couple of years. Do they forget how they got into the United's 11 and led them to the top? Interesting.
Well, that's a good point. I think football's moved on. I think what Arsenal are doing, I do think sometimes, not the circumstances just go a certain way or that things fall into your lap, but I think, do you remember when, Arteta signed, he obviously gave Aubameyang that new deal, he signed Willian, extended Luiz's contract, he brought Dani Ceballos in for another loan, and I think there was a point at which, he signed Cedric, he was an experienced option. There's a point which he wanted to get most dependable Premier League players, and a little bit of quality around them with Partey and Willian, and maybe not fast track us to the Champions League, but just, give himself something to work with while he gets the foundations in the background. It didn't really work it wasn't really developing in that way. And with pretty much his job on the line, playing Chelsea at home, he said, that's it. I'm going Saka, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, and I'm going to go with the future. And I'm going to go with something that, at least might resemble what I want it to look like in 2, 3, 4 years' time. And I think ever since then, he's not really looked back. Obviously, we fell out of Europe completely. And I think he thought, well, we'll keep going with this. We'll keep going with, Ramsdale, 23, Ben White, 23, Lokonga, 21, Odegaard, 22, 23. And I think the team is benefiting from growing with him. And I think it's kind of it's worked. Listen, Arsenal should never be out of, the FA Cup as early as they were, and they shouldn't be out of Europe. But that is how things went. And that has allowed a young team to go week by week, one game every week, sometimes one game every 10 days, lots of time on the coaching pitch, not too much physical exertion, and try and grow and develop.
How sustainable is it, James? Because I have to ask this question because you're going to need to bring in experience at some point, and it seems like the experienced players either clash with Mikel Arteta or some seem like they do work. We can look at Granit Xhaka, but a majority of it is the youngsters that are kind of buying into this project and this process, and it's working. But how sustainable is it, especially if we go into the Champions League and there's games midweek? Is it sustainable relying on these youngsters? I'm loving it right now. This is not me not saying I'm not loving the youngsters, but how sustainable can this continue? Do we need to start bringing in experienced players?
Well, so actually, I kind of just realised I didn't answer your first question. But, so what I think the point Gary and Roy make is that even if things go really badly for United this year, I think they'll almost definitely be in the Europa League. And again, you can't really be playing, European football, relying on youngsters to get you through that, and the Premier League. The expectation will be that Man United not only get top 4, but challenge for the title. That will always be the expectation, even though they're so far from that. So what I'm basically saying is the way we've approached this youth project to rebuild, I think the circumstances have kind of allowed for that, and I don't know if it necessarily would for them. But I think a complete clear out and culture reset isn't the worst thing. Now, I'm wary of sort of comparing it to Arsenal because we've not done it yet. It looks like it's going in the right direction, but we've not achieved it yet. But yeah, there's definitely things to like. That I've heard United fans say, "See what Arsenal are doing." You know, we should be learning from that a little bit. But
did you hear Mark Goldbridge speak on Saka? Did you hear what he said about Bukayo Saka recently? How he was just hailing him up for how he came out off the back of the Euros, missing that penalty for England, and he's just gone from strength to strength to strength. And it's weird. It's weird hearing it from another fan. Like, we give these players credit, but when you hear it from a rival fan, I don't know why it just hits a little different, because it's like, thank you, someone's understanding kind of what we see. Like, people always go back to when was it Carragher said Smith Rowe's the best dribbler with the ball, like, at his feet in the Premier League. Like, we always hold up when other fans kind of give credit to our young players, but I've got to keep championing these young players and keep pushing it. You know, they are great talents, and like I said, it's always nice to hear from other fans, but we're not going crazy when we say certain things about their talent. But anyway, go on. I don't know if you wanted to carry on there before I go through some super chats. Oh, your sound's gone. Is it still coming through?
Hello?
Let me know. Oh, there you are. Sorry.
Oh, there we are. I was going to say, in answering the question I didn't answer, I've now forgotten all your last questions. Is
it sustainable? Is it sustainable, the youngsters?
Sustainable? Yeah, that was the question. So again, it does all make sense. I'm slowly getting there. I'm ill, guys, remember?
Yeah, James is ill, people.
But is it sustainable? Yes. If we go and... I know not everyone agrees with this option, but I'm going to use them because it's the only one that comes to mind. Are you ill as well? You're right.
Bless me. It's going round. Carry on.
It really is. If we sign, okay, here's some options. Say our summer is Arthur in midfield, Rafinha and Calvert-Lewin, right? You've got your out-and-out number 9. You've got a forward who could play across the front 3, and you've got your central midfielder in there. Balogun comes back. Martinelli's another option. Yada yada yada. You get my point. That team going into next season playing Champions League football, well, White will be turning 25. Ramsdale, I think, will be turning 25 in that season.
24.
Gabriel will be...
Oh, actually, that's we say next. He's 23 now. Did you say next year?
Yeah, okay, is he 23 right now, Ramsdale?
Yeah, right now he's 23.
He's 24 now.
Yeah,
so White next season will be turning 24. Ramsdale next season... Sorry. White next will be 25. You get my point. They're all hitting their 24s, 25s. Partey will be 27, 28 or whatever. You add a midfielder like Arthur, who's very experienced at European level, will be 25, 26. Calvert-Lewin, you know, that's not a young team. You know, you're going to have your Hutchinsons, Patinos, all them coming through. But another year on, with a bit of experience around them, you know, I don't think that is too... I don't think it becomes a question of whether that youth project is sustainable. I think the reason we talk so much about the youth project now is because a lot of those young players are carrying Arsenal right now. You know, as your Sakas, Rose, Martinelli, Odegaard. You know, they are... We're playing our best football through them. But if you add a bit of depth, you add an extra year. You know, they're not so. You know, the squad doesn't feel so inexperienced. So yeah, I think with the right signings, they can be ready for next season. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you for that, James. Let me go to some super chats. We've got Lucas here, says Lewandowski, Gnabry, McGinn, and Tavernier. I'm terrible at saying his name, but I know it is. And I'd go for, he says, Peter Bissett. I read this as it came up on the screen. I did smirk. I read it as it came up. He says, hi, James. If the rumours are true and Arsenal do sign Cecil G on a free, do you think Arteta should change formation to accommodate his talent? Listen, Peter, thank you so much for that super chat. We'll get Jason's thoughts.
I think if he's able to sign him, I think he should go back to that 5-3-1 with 10 men and leave him on the bench.
I thought he was going to be really kind and be like, 10 men Arsenal with Cecil G on the side is good enough. No chance. Big up Peter for that super chat.
Where do you want to play in this Arsenal team? Front, across the front 3, maybe wide left?
the game's moved on so much for me. I think, you know, I'm an actual striker. Actually saying that, I didn't score many goals, but I kind of did what Lacazette does a lot. Hold up the ball, be very physical and annoyance. Dude did score goals, just was not a prolific goal scorer. So kind of the Lacazette role. Maybe I'm kind of like Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Why waste your money? I'm cheaper. Come and get me, Arsenal. Anyway, let's get back to the chat. I want to quickly actually talk about Lacazette with you, James, and just discuss that. You know, when David Luiz went, and I was kind of on the thinking that Arsenal should have offered him a 1-year extension just to have him around, potentially as backup as well, if ever needed. But a 1-year extension, he was a mature head in the dressing room, a guy that said he will always face the camera during adversity and speak on behalf of players if they, you know, have a bad game or they don't want to face the media. So a player like that, I have a lot of respect for, especially when I was playing. I was very young and I looked up to role models like that. And I'm not saying David Luiz was a role model, but he may have been to many players, but to me, he was a good example of a professional. Now, this again kind of leads to the Lacazette talk towards the end of the summer. His contract's up. There is talk about maybe giving him an extension. Would you be inclined to give Lacazette a 1-year extension just to be around the dressing room? Would you be happy to see that, you know, be an influence to the younger players? Excuse me.
Are you sneezing again?
My throat.
We're all going through it. Blimey.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Let me just talk Lacazette while are you okay?
Got a bit emotional there talking about Lacazette and role models and this club. Oh,
that Lacazette.
That Lacazette.
Should we offer a new deal? God, it's so tough. Lacazette. With Luiz, I'd have offered him a new deal. And in hindsight, I don't think that was wrong. I think Luiz could easily have been a part of this squad this season. The players did love him. You know, don't get me wrong, I'm glad we signed White.
Yeah, of course.
I think there was room for both. It just would have been a contract extension for Luiz. With Lacazette, this is going to sound horrible.
Say it.
Because I love Lacazette. Lacazette. I've been, of all the critics, I've been one of the nicest, you know, because you see kind of what he does in terms of work ethic and the quality he has with the close control and linking up play and all that, and his work ethic and his tenacity, and he must be horrible to play against. But I think there's just a little too much lacking in front of goal for me to be like, yes, definitely give him a contract. If he signs a new deal, I wouldn't be disappointed at all.
Yeah,
I really love him. I think he's a really good leader for this current team, and you can see that they all feed off him, and that's fantastic, and I commend him massively for that. With David Luiz though, people might laugh, people might think it's crazy. I thought David Luiz was still playing to a good level for us last season, and our problems were not to do with the defence. We finished last season with the third best defence. I think we're very close in terms of goals conceded. We're already at this stage of the season very close to last season's final tally. So the defence was an issue last season, and David Luiz did still have big moments at Wembley for us, and did still have big performances, you know, for us when we needed him last season. I think of the North London derby, United at home, games like that. So I think there was actually still a lot of quality there. With Lacazette, there's still quality. I just feel maybe there's a little too much lacking in front of goal. But I've got no problem with sort of keeping him on, giving him a 1-year extension. But you know, there's what's the added benefit to that? So for example, if it's giving him a new deal, a 1-year extension, so that Flo Balogun could go have another year of Premier League loan experience, brilliant. I'm all for that. I'm absolutely all for that. But if it's to bring Lacazette in, but then Balogun's just kind of in the squad, not really playing as much, and in the meantime we've brought in another striker and a winger, I don't really know what it would add. So yeah, I think they've got to think about it carefully. But
yeah, I agree. I think I said about David Luiz, I think he could have an extension. I think he gets tarnished with the brush of being ex-Chelsea player, and obviously when Willian came in and checked, they didn't hit the heights, and he, I think, gets tarnished under that same brush. And obviously the mistakes he's made previously, but way before. But that last season, he wasn't terrible at all. I think he could have had a year extension and been vital in that dressing room. And that's not to go against Benjamin. Sorry, I got to get used to that as well. Not to go against him because he was a great signing. I also think the same for this season. I think Lacazette deserves a 1-year extension. I think he is a natural leader. I love when he's on the pitch. I love the way he cheers up the crowd. He's normally the one to lead that as well. By the way, he's always the one to come over and say, "Come on," and get louder. I like that connection. I like what he brings, and he clearly is playing for Mikel Arteta. And I think next season we'll probably see the likes of Xhaka move on. I think by summer potentially. Obviously, the links we had with Roma previously. You think he will stay?
I think Xhaka could stay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if he stays or goes, I think he's part of the leadership group. I think Rob Holding will probably stay, but again, for me, if I look at the leadership group and I think of who's a leader in there, I know Kieran Tierney is part of it. I think he's kind of the guy, but I think having Lacazette in the changing room in a 1-year extension really will help those other leadership group potential players, really fit into that mould. Go on.
I just wanted to add that, because I saw a super chat pop up and I saw Jed Spence get mentioned again, and I know that one of the players we're linked with as a backup right back. And on that topic a little bit, I really hate saying anything against Tomiyasu and Tierney, because we love them and they give their all, and they're very talented players. Don't get me wrong, but I could see why Arsenal would go into the market for something else in terms of a fullback, more of a ball playing. Tomiyasu is very good with both feet, don't get me wrong, but in the mould of Cancelo, Reece James, Trent, who have unbelievable whip on the ball, who can create from fullback areas. I think that might be the one thing. Tierney's very good at dropping the shoulder, beating his man and getting across into the box, but I don't know whether he has created from deep areas, and I just wonder whether Arteta might look to do just one fullback, probably that can play both sides, but maybe just bring in a right back who, we've used the term backup right back, or we haven't. The reporter said backup right back. I think it could be a direct competition.
Thank you very much.
I think we could see Tomiyasu actually playing as more of a centre back next season. I actually wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal have a new starting right back next season, whether Norton Cuffy is the guy or we bring someone in.
Tariq Lamptey?
Tariq Lamptey, good option. And then our centre-backs are Saliba, White, Gabriel, Tomiyasu. That wouldn't surprise me. And then maybe in certain games where you want to be a bit more robust at the back, like Kyle Walker, a right back, sometimes he's told to stay quite deep by Pep Guardiola so that they don't get overrun on one side. Tomiyasu might be used for that. I think we'll see this squad start to get more options and more layers to how it can play. It's not those home games where you need to be more creative and beat a deep block. We might want someone a bit more naturally creative than Tomiyasu. But I love Tomiyasu. I think he's a really good player. I just wanted to pick up on that term, backup right back. I don't think we'll be going for a backup. I think we'll be going for another real quality option who can play either side of fullback.
Yeah, I want to double down on that, because every right back option that we get linked with, every player I see that's in the media and the people I speak with, those are players that are not going to come to Arsenal to be a backup. That's all they're coming for. Tariq Lamptey, even still, he's not going to want to come and stunt his development as a young player to be sitting on the bench for when Tomiyasu isn't fit. It's not going to happen. So I think you're right. I think the terminology using the backup is definitely I'm not going to say wrong until I see it come in, but I think you're right when you say I think it's direct competition there for both flanks.
Well, I'm just skeptical. That's all. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's not true. I think naturally Arsenal are looking for someone who can add competition to Tomiyasu. I just think the nature of that competition will be a player with different qualities, with different levels of output in the attacking third, but maybe not as robust defensively. In fact, there's very few who are as robust defensively, who are as good in the air and as strong and athletic as Tomiyasu. So I don't think we're going to get a defensive upgrade on Tomiyasu in the summer, but someone who offers something else going forward. And they might come in as a backup, absolutely. I just think over time, and we'll probably see them getting a lot more game time as as Arteta probably will call on sort of, I don't know, an even more attacking and even more expressing version of this Arsenal side. But again, it all depends on I say it all depends. I was going to say it all depends on getting Champions League football. I think we're kind of talking like, sometimes I think we're getting into that, not me and you, just generally as a fan base, and I'm even seeing it a little bit in the media. We're kind of talking like it's kind of secured.
Yeah.
And it's because we're in a great position, so it's very hard. Yeah, it's very hard not to talk about it from the position we're in. You know, you judge a result by a result, what you've just seen, and what we can see right now is Arsenal in the top 4 with games in hand on everyone else. That is a superb position. Compare that to end of December when we went into Christmas in the top 4, but everyone else around us had games in hand. So we kept saying, "Well, we're 4th, but is it a bit of a false position? I don't know." Now it's completely flipped. This is the best position Arsenal have been in all season, but we've got to get it. You know, we've got to get it sealed.
That's exactly it, James. I was going to say that, like, it's so frustrating because I keep seeing fans and speaking with them like, top 4, we can get top 4 this season. But let's be real as well. The games in hands that we have aren't easy. They're not easy opposition. We still got to play Tottenham on the reverse fixture. We still got to play Liverpool, Chelsea. So, but it is just the where we are. And you're right. You see it in the media that it's ours to lose is what I'm seeing in certain articles. But it's like, whoa, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But it's difficult not to. All I just say is take it game by game, because I heard some fans even speaking about 3rd position and Chelsea could slip up. I'm like, listen, I'm focusing on 4th. The difference between 3rd and 4th to me is nothing. As long as I get in the Champions League, it doesn't matter to me. So you're very right there. I think we're getting a bit. Sometimes we get a bit too much involved in it. Now I want to quickly speak before. I know you wanted to quickly talk on that as well. And just the fullbacks. Just what you spoke about just there is the sense that yes, we're going to need someone else that can challenge, but I want someone that can maybe offer something more going forward, more athletic, which you kind of described there. But I want someone with amazing technical ability. And the reason why I say this is because I look at Trent, I watched him recently, and I just think his deliveries and how technical he is actually phenomenal. I think fullbacks, and I spoke about this with you at the awards show, I said, when I used to be a player, like, people that were fullbacks were failed wingers or midfielders that just got pushed into that position, and it was deemed as the easiest position to make it as a professional footballer. Nowadays, they start a lot of the attacks, they're used up and down, probably one of the most difficult positions to really obtain. Obviously, you can talk about midfield and striker, but they are key to going forward and defending. So when it comes to signing, I'm not going to say backup, but signing a new fullback, I really hope they are of quality in a sense that, you know, they're offering something different to what we kind of already have. That has to be essential for the scouting team this summer. What was you going to say anyway about the 4th and that as well? Go on.
Well, so 2 things. The targets we've got, and I've said it's going to be 3 signings. The report says about 4. It'll be around that number. I think that'll be how many players we bring in the summer. I think we'll bring in those players of that profile. You know, whether we get Champions League football, Europa League football, whatever it is. God forbid we drop all the way to the Conference League. But yeah, I know. But you know, so I think we'll get players of that profile. I stress profile because the quality will be different if we get Champions League, absolutely. So yeah, I look forward to seeing kind of what Arsenal do, what they go for this summer. I think it'll be interesting. And on that fullback position, which I'm glad we've given a lot of discussion to it, because it's really important to know that we love Tomiyasu. We absolutely love him.
Yes, 100%.
You know? And also, don't mistake us when we say quality in the final third. We mean almost creativity, inventiveness, drive, those kind of things. Not so much. He's 2-footed and he picks up really good positions and he's got good passing. And remember that Martinelli goal against Newcastle? Yeah. That was Tomiyasu's pass over the top. So, you know, Tomiyasu, and by the way, he's good in the air. He's an aerial threat defensively and going forward. So Tomiyasu is brilliant. Not every player needs to be able to create. I say that, but you look at the way the game's moved on.
Yep.
You know, Man City, you know, a couple of years back, Liverpool pushing them all the way. They're playing Leicester at home. They can't break them down. Vincent Kompany, you know, blast one in the top corner.
Yeah.
Gary Neville's shouting, "Where do you want your statue?" And but that's not a fluke. That's not any old players just decided to hammer it. You know, he's a very, very good footballer, Vincent Kompany, or was. I mean, but obviously still is. But you get my point. Players almost in every position now need to have immense technical ability. Look at Aaron Ramsdale. Did you see that pass he played to
the side? What? Yeah, when he hit
and he
yes.
You know, look how we went from one end of the pitch
like that
because of that pass.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be crucial that I think we're going to see Arteta going for those positions where it's slightly lacking that same technical ability. I think you'll see him go and, I don't know, add that little bit of quality, not to replace what we've got, just to give us different options. Because when we're playing Man City at home, I know we lost the game for the rivals come for me. I know we lost to Man City at home, but in that game, the reason we were able to press so well, in my opinion, was because they didn't have a lot on the counter the other way. Because Tomiyasu, Tierney, White, Gabriel, they mopped up. Now, I don't think Tomiyasu, as I've been saying, is, he's not a Trent or a Walker, or not Walker. He's not a Trent or a Reece James in the final third. But defensively, he's absolutely superb.
Solid.
So you're just going to need different options to call upon. That's it. Just like sometimes you're going to want to go Partey and El Neni as a midfield too. Keep it tight. Sometimes you're going to want to do that. But I think it's just important we've got that added quality that can give us something in the final third when you're playing a team that, they'll set up the low block and it'll be hard to break them down.
Yeah, 100% agree there. And that's why I want to just kind of hone in on that as well, on the full-backs and the wide players. I spoke about Trent, and I look at Liverpool and I think you haven't got massively tall strikers, but the delivery is so good that it becomes a different sort of attack. And that's what we kind of need.
Example.
This is exactly
Great
that.
example. Firmino didn't come in, to Liverpool all those years ago as a, towering header of the ball. Diogo Jota didn't either. Mane,
No.
Salah. But they've all shown they can score with their head because the delivery is good enough and you attack it right. It doesn't matter how tall you are. If the ball hits the right space,
that's it.
So being able to hurt teams from wide areas is a real asset because it's areas that you tend to press less.
Yep.
Teams tend to say, well, we're not going to get all the way out to Trent. We're not going to get all the way out to Robertson. So let's just defend our box well. And sometimes they do. But the point is, you've conceded that you're not going to deny them that cross. Because the minute you go and press there to deny the cross, you're leaving yourselves really open. Both at centre back and in central midfield. It's why you see Trent now, and same with Cancelo and Walker. They will pick up the ball as inverted wing backs because sometimes overlapping to find the ball isn't always the right option. They'll prefer to go deeper, but their delivery is good enough. So a very long discussion we've just had there on the right back and full back situation. But I do really think that is an area that Arteta is going to look to address. And the reason I stress full back and not right back is because I think he'll try and bring in a Cancelo type who can play at left back sometimes.
Yeah, agreed. Right, James, I'm gonna move on because it was a great conversation about the fullbacks and the potential options that we could be bringing in. But let me rattle through some of the comments before we kind of wrap up and get your final thoughts. But let's look at Shref. Shref says Mikel was really. Oh, this is actually. Let me go all the way up. There was loads of super chats that I think I flew by a miss. I'm gonna quickly just rattle them back. So we got here Shref again with super chat. Big up Shref says James, all love. But would appreciate if you spoke a little slower and kept it to 1 point for 15 seconds because you speak fast. Many fans not from the UK. Thanks. I mean, I think he's just blame it on the flu. I'm ill. I'm ill.
To be fair, I probably speak quickly all the time, but I can't really breathe. So I'm trying to make my point quite quickly. But appreciate it. Thank you.
You'll be great in a rap battle with the speed speaking fast. So yeah, we'll keep that in mind. Abhijit says, James, you look 5 years younger without the glasses. I don't know if that is an insult or a compliment. I think that is more a compliment without the glasses. But have you got them with you?
I'll take it as a compliment.
Yeah, I thought he was going to whip them out then.
Do you know what I bought the other day? Don't laugh at me. So I bought these blue light glasses. It was online, so I hadn't tried them on. I bought them, kind of see what they'd be like. And they work. They're terrible. Are you ready?
Oh, you've got them?
Hold on.
Oh, they're not too bad.
Nah, come on, let's be real. They're not great.
Yeah, what colour are they? They're like light brown.
They're like see-through.
Oh, Lord. Okay, yeah. It's interesting. I think
my housemate called me... have you seen The Incredibles?
Of course I have. I love it.
He called me Edna Mode.
Edna.
So anyway, that's why I've never worn them on a stream till now.
Yeah, don't bring them to the studio. Let's keep they're a home pair of glasses, I think. Yuvraj says, why you guys think we can't sign Haaland with Champions League and the way we're playing? He is the mission puzzle. I think he's missing puzzle. Believe in our team. Oh, I believe in our team. I don't believe that Haaland's going to sign for Arsenal. I mean, why should we not? But there's many reasons. I'm not going to go into it. I don't think it's something I need to kind of break down.
It's not about not believing in Arsenal. It's about the fact that
Haaland's not going to.
He wants Real Madrid and Barcelona. I mean, can't really begrudge him that, can we?
I know. Tell me about it. Let me go to Young Gunner says, we should go for Kessie. I agree. And Renato and Tielemans, David and Rafinha. Also, Jed Spence would be good. Young Gunner, you are very, very, you got a long shopping list for this summer. I don't blame you because we've been starved in January, but that is a lot of names and that will infinitely improve the side 100%. There's a lot of personalities in there though for Arteta to juggle. And I kind of did ask James at the top of the show as well that I think the recruitment team are going to bring in players that we don't hear about too much. There might be one big name in the summer, but I think a lot of them will be some names that we really didn't expect, like what we saw last summer. Mart S says Spence, Kessie, David, Adeyemi. Usually a guy like Adeyemi will go to Germany and be too expensive after a few years. I think Adeyemi will be the perfect time. I think is obviously RB Salzburg. He's worth around 30 million. He's probably by summer 40 million by the amount of interest he's had. I know he's got interest from Liverpool. They're looking at him. I would love him. Absolute baller. Tall, young as well, athletic. He's class. He's absolutely class. I think Adeyemi is definitely someone we should be keeping an eye on, and he's probably in my top 5 of who I want to see this summer. But yeah, that was a good list actually. Spence, Kessie, David, and Adeyemi. I think that's a very strong list. So big up. Who said that? Who sent that? Mart. Thank you very much. I'm going to move back down to the last couple super chats here, which I have. Shref comes back with, Mikel was really lucky. Hope you realise he got money. First time. Man United and Spurs are struggling so much in years. We only judge the success if we get top 4. Is that harsh, James, to judge him only if we get top 4 with everything that Mikel Arteta has done? I know he came out of 2 cups, but the clear out, the overhaul, the belief and trust he has from the owners, the style of play, believing in the youngsters and it kind of coming to fruition and being in this top 4 conversation, even though other teams are failing. I don't like that people keep saying that it's due to other teams failing around us. Okay, that is the reality, but I hate that people use that as an excuse to say, you can't give Mikel Arteta too much credit.
Everyone's got their own demands, their own expectations for this season. We're all Arsenal fans. We all want the same thing, which is the best for the club. Other people just different expectations for the season. I said that I couldn't deny the quality that was in the United team, even though they do look a mess at times. And I can't deny Antonio Conte, even though they are so hit and miss Tottenham. But it is 2 wins on the bounce with 9 goals scored and 2 clean sheets. So in the Premier League, that is. So Tottenham are putting a little bit of form together in the league. My expectation for Arteta, this is going back a few months, but when we were starting to creep into the top 4 conversation, I was saying get top 6, but we need to be really in the conversation for top 4, and I need to see that we're playing really good football. I need to see that there's a team I really enjoy watching play week in, week out, and then I'd understand how with a few more years and more signings that team could go on to do something hopefully quite special one day. So that was my expectation. Has it changed a little bit with how bad Spurs and United have been at times? Yeah, of course it has, a little bit. But, it's a competitive league. I do sense that there's going to be a 3 or 4 game spell that won't go brilliantly for us between now and the end of the season. I do think we're, I struggle to think, apart from Liverpool and City, who's been consistent all season. So I do think there's a run coming for us where we're just going to have to stand strong as fans, get behind the team and just hope that they've done enough to get over the line. The beauty is we can lose all our games in hand and still finish 4th. So, that's the beauty of the situation right now.
That's true. That is true. I think I'm with you. I kind of feel the striker situation, not getting a striker in January, will catch up with us. I keep saying it. I really think it was not the right decision to not bring someone in just for backup. But do you know what? It's working so far, so I have no complaints. But again, there's still a lot of games left, and we are going to kind of bring the show to an end. Unless there's any final thoughts from you, James, or anything that you want to kind of discuss that we may have missed in the transfer talk for this live stream. Big up everyone that's also followed along with us throughout the show. But
no, just let us know. We're much more active in the comment section, guys. Reading what you guys are saying. Well, we're always reading what you guys are saying, but having discussion, debate. Let us know who you think Arsenal will go for. I made the point that I think we're going to go for more wide players that can play centrally rather than, 2 out-and-out number 9s. Do you guys agree with that? I'd love to know what everyone thinks. But and the fullback situation as well. Are we going for a Tomiyasu 2.0 who could play second fiddle to him, or are we going to go for a different option? So let us know in the comment section. I'm quite interested.
Yeah, let us know. We are checking a lot of the comment sections after the videos have been posted, so make sure you let us know your thoughts, and we'll be checking and replying to them as well. Also, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. I want to quickly just say, Brown Sugar in the comments says, AFTV, James and Cecil, do you think Arsenal should focus on Nicola Muller, who's in the academy, the 19-year-old Swedish striker we signed in 2020, who was likened to Zlatan? I believe he's on loan at the moment.
He is on. I think he's on loan.
I believe he is on loan. Yeah. Again, there's a lot of talent in the under 23s to come through at Arsenal, and we have a great young batch of players currently in this Arsenal side. Should we focus on him? I think the focus has been pushed to Balogun, but I mean, listen, if he's going to be there next season, I think he needs to be utilised at some point. But I'm not the decision maker of that. I need to see more of him personally.
Well, we've still got Eddie Nketiah, who by all accounts is a young striker. We've got Balogun on loan. We've got Biereth, who's tearing it up in the academy. We've got Tyrese John Jules, who's on loan, and then Moller as well. So there's a lot of young strikers who will probably reach in fact, I think they'll all reach a very good level, in their careers. But are they all right for Arsenal? I think maybe 1 or 2 at We'll see.
That's how football is, if I'm completely honest. It is normally 1 or 2 that kind of make it through. And you can see that in this current Arsenal side that really hit the heights. So that is it. Listen, thank you everyone that stayed along with us through this Arsenal news today. It was more of a transfer show, but please make sure you check out all the rest of the content on AFTV. Like I said, there's a vlog out. Talk is Cheap with Robbie and Laurie, the brothers. Go at it and give their opinions. So make sure you go check that out. And again, we'll be giving you content in the rest of this week in build up for Sunday's game against Leicester. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.